Built in 1941, the Calliope project is comprised of back of town, front of town, old side, new side.
All right, let's go, Rachel.
Cut Boys, Porch Boys, Mets Gang, Clay Gang, and the Susie Crew all made their names in the CP3 Calliope projects. Dwayne Cobbins, aka Wango, will be one of the notoriously known steppers out the yo. It is rumored that being hit in the back is what transformed Dwayne into Gangsta Go. Before the rise of CMurder and No Limit Records, Wayne's partner in crime would be Cut Boy Boo. Boo wouldn't go under the name Nine Fingers until one of his fingers was shot off when he got hit up. Although he was a stepper, Wango was infatuated with rap music. Gangsta Go would appear on Mr. Marcello's Hambra, collabing with CMurder, Cello, and Dodo. CMurder and Wango will become inseparable.
Wango, y'all gonna be hearing a lot about him on them records, you heard me?
Rapper CMurder will spend the rest of his life in jail. But will today's controversial verdict be overturned by an appeals court? WDSU News reporter Travis Mackel is live at 10 to tell us why some say yes.
Well, Chris, CMurder's family and friends say they believe this conviction will be tossed out after they appeal, but one legal analyst says not so fast. A jury found CMurder, whose real name is Corey Miller, guilty of second-degree murder for killing 16-year-old Steve Thomas at a West Bank nightclub in 2002. Monday afternoon, jurors told Judge Hans Liljeberg that they were deadlocked. Liljeberg ordered the jurors to continue deliberating. That carried into Tuesday morning. Tuesday morning, the jurors told the judge that a female juror slept during some deliberations and kept quoting the Bible. That juror asked to be removed. Liljeberg denied it. Then the jury reached a guilty verdict, only to have the judge not validate the verdict since one juror was crying, saying she wasn't sure. 3 hours later, the final guilty verdict came in. And the verdict was read. There were about a dozen sheriff's deputies inside the courtroom. Corey Miller didn't say a word as the verdict came down.
And Miller will be sentenced on Friday. He will spend the rest of his life in jail.
January 2002, Corey Miller and his entourage would get into a scuffle at a nightclub. Shots would be fired, wounding and taking the life of then 16-year-old Stephen Thomas.
In 2002, 16-year-old Steve Thomas was killed in a nightclub in Jefferson Parish. Days later, Miller was arrested and charged for the killing with second-degree murder. In 2003, a jury found him guilty of that charge, but the judge overturned the conviction. In 2009, during the retrial, Miller was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison without parole.
CMurder would be falsely accused of the crime. Wango would confess to witness tampering and seeing Corey Miller with the weapon. The statements of his right-hand man, Wango, would be used to falsely convict him of the crime. Wango, who could no longer show his face in the Calliope projects, would move downtown. He would later be found tortured, beaten, and battered to death.
As CMurder and I talked for about 15 minutes, and I asked him how he's made it through all these years. He told me his daughters keep him going. He also said he's grateful to all the fans who support him, and now he says he's grateful to that witness who came forward.
This is a call from Defender A, Louisiana Department of Corrections.
I'm not gonna lie, these last 15 years it's been a struggle.
Corey Miller, known to many of you as CMurder, has spent more than a decade in prison. And up until a few days ago, he wasn't sure if he'd ever get out.
I've been snatched away from my family, from raising my game, and from my career, from everything. And I just want it back.
A key witness came forward recanting his statement. In an affidavit, Kenneth Jordan said Jefferson Parish deputies pressured him to lie by holding an unrelated charge over his head. Jordan said he knew Miller did not shoot and kill a teenager 16 years ago, but he said detectives told him to say otherwise. Now, all these years later, Jordan says he wants to right his wrong, and Miller forgives him.
I want him to know I'm not upset with him, and I'm proud of him. And me and my family, my daughters, especially, we thank him. For real, I mean, it's a life-changing moment.
He says for the first time in a while, he has hope that he may not die in prison. And he's glad his family, friends, and fans continue to fight for his justice.
I always had to smile. Since I've been locked up for 16 years. And I just want them to know that my heart is smiling.
And CMurder also told me despite everything that's happened, he says he's not bitter. He also says he still has faith in the justice system and he hopes the system will do the right thing. CMurder told me until that happens, he's going to do what he's done these last 16 years. That is wait, pray, and hope for the best.
As fate may have it, a witness of the crime will step up and blow the lid off of the prosecutor's case. Juan Flowers would also confess to committing the crime, which prosecutors would blatantly ignore.
Shooter in a 2002 nightclub killing in Harvey is now recanting his testimony.
Now, the witness now claims he was pressured by detectives to ID Miller and that investigators told him what to say. Paul Murphy joins us from the Jefferson Parish Courthouse with the story. Paul?
Karen Ton, rapper CMurder is now serving a life sentence for murdering a teenage fan at a now closed Harvey nightclub. Corey Miller, which is his real name, is now asking judges here at the JP Courthouse to throw out the conviction based on the fact that a key prosecution witness now swears that he lied on the stand. Kenneth Jordan is one of two witnesses who testified that Corey CMurder Miller shot and killed a teenager during a nightclub brawl at the Platinum Club in Harvey 16 years ago. A Jefferson Parish jury found Miller guilty of killing 16-year-old Steve Thomas in 2009. A judge sentenced him to life in prison. This week, Miller's attorney, Paul Barker, filed a memorandum in Jefferson Parish District Court claiming Jordan is now recanting his testimony.
He felt threatened and pressured to give testimony that was being fed to him.
According to an affidavit, Jordan now claims that the person he saw commit the shooting was not Corey Miller. He also claims JPSO officers threatened to prosecute him for felony carnal knowledge of a juvenile and threatened him with at least 10 years in prison if he failed to testify against Miller.
He says in his affidavit that he informed the state prior to the 2009 trial that his 2003 statement was not true. That's a recanting of the testimony, and that's information that should have been disclosed to the defense.
Trey Mustian, an attorney representing the victim's family, says Steve Thomas's parents find the revelations in the case very disturbing.
He would have been 33 years old on June 10th. That's something that they're focused on, and it's unfortunate the timing of all this coming around his birthday. That makes it especially difficult for him.
Mustian expects Miller's conviction to stand.
All that stuff was brought out on cross-examination during the trial.
Corey Miller continues to maintain his innocence. Barker is now seeking his release from prison.
Instead of ordering a new trial, they should dismiss the charges against him.
The JPSO and the Jefferson Parish District Attorney's Office both declined comment for this story. It is unclear when the court will rule on Corey Miller's request. We're live at the Jefferson Parish Courthouse in Gretna. Paul Murphy, Eyewitness News.